Okay, so some of the last gear, I'm gonna kind of go through it with all my lenses. I'll make a recap of every lens I use, and I use them all. But my main thing for my gear is this tripod. It's a Manfrotto tripod. Now, I understand somebody said it to me that this tripod was taken, stolen, or just co-opted from another company. I don't remember what it was, and it's basically the same thing as a Manfrotto. And the reason why you don't know it's it's not a Manfrotto is because of that plate. It doesn't have the same quick release plate as the rest of them do, and so it's a copy from another brand. But it's a good um, system for what I have. If you've watched my last video, I had an XT3, XH1. XT3 got destroyed. I had the XH1 wasn't holding up, so I got an XT4. I've used the XT4 with this gimbal quite a few times, just personal stuff, and it's held up. It's doing really well. I don't have any of the jitters or anything that some of the other stuff has, so I really like it. I like the tripod or the gimbal. One thing about this gimbal is it's kind of hard to set up at first. Don't ever put the edge of the camera right up against the gimbal's when you're lining it up. It has this weird jitter. So other than that, it's a great gimbal that I like for the system. Okay, last thing is my Sony. So I used to have a Sony A7 IV. Buddy of mine really A7 IV. He needed a camera, and I like the A7 IV because of the dial at the top. I'm gonna talk about this PASM dial here in a second. I like being able to switch between video and that, but I was like, hey man, if you really need it, I'll give it to you. I like the A7 III. I use it quite a bit, so I use the A7 III for most of my weddings as my short range camera, because I have an 28 to 70 on here, and it works really well. I don't ever really have to change out this lens. It does everything I need. Now that little PASM dial at the top, I learned something very quick because I want to be able to shoot video. And so the first thing I learned was how to set the memory. So if you go to video, you get your settings that you want, and then go into the menu system. There's a guy that shows it really well on YouTube. But you go into the menu system and you set your memory. I can have my 24 frames per second on memory 1, my 60 frames per second on memory 2, and then when I go to video, I have my 120 frames per second video, or the S&Q. You can do that also. But I really love using that because I'm trying to get more into video for my weddings. Right now I'm just doing photography and a little bit of video, but I really hope that this really works. I've been doing it at some of the shoots, and I like it. I really truly do. So on the Sony, there's a lot of great things. The IBIS is pretty good. You'll see here in a little bit I shot with the Sony. Just all of this is handheld, so there's a lot of shake right here. This is shot with the XH1 and the XT4, I think. Yeah, this is the XT4, the black and white. But I really like this combo, this setup. I don't shoot video. Everybody complains about the wobble. I don't really care. Like, I mean, most customers and people don't really see it. If you're a professional filmmaker, which I'm not going to be, nobody sees the wobble on here. To be honest with you, I showed a couple of times where the XH2S and the XT3 were using the 16 mil 1.4, and there's like a wobble in it, right? And so on the Sony, there's not really that wobble when I go to wide angle lens. I have a 20 mil and it works perfect. I use the 20 mil for like establishing shots. And so in a wedding, you do the 3, right? You do the wide, the medium, and then the close up. And so majority of my time I sit in the medium, which is this lens right here. And then when I need to do the close-ups, I use the Fuji 16 mil. I do the close-ups. And if I ever need a wide shot, like a big wide shot, I'll take the 20 mil and throw it on here real quick, do a wide shot. If not, then I'll have the 18 to 55 on the Fuji, and I'll do a wide shot with the 18. But most times I can get away with a 20 mil. Okay, here's the handheld with I think this is XH1 first, on the XT4 before I got rid of it. But it holds up pretty good. I think this is the Sony now. Yeah, this is the Sony. I zoomed in and out. What I love about the XT4 is this right here, the little toggle. Now Marcus Picks, I love Marcus Picks. I like watching him. He gives you so much information, and he hates the toggle. He hates that little click. He just wants to push the button, which I understand. I totally 100% understand. Just want to click the button, click, click, and then go. The last thing is this battery. I love this battery. So Sony and Fuji, when they upgraded these batteries, forever. You can shoot, I mean, a gazillion shots for a very long time. It works out great. There's like a actual number that you get, but I get way over it plus video. So I'd say always buy 2 batteries. Maybe have a third for spare if you're gonna do a 12-hour wedding. But this is pretty good overall. I think I think this is gonna help me out quite a bit. I still have the XT3. Hopefully it comes from the shop here pretty soon. I still have like 4 batteries for that one because I gave all the rest to XH1 to my buddy because I told him to choose through batteries. But that little dial up there at the top. Now I do have a hard time flipping that switch right there. If you look at that switch, I have a really hard time flipping that switch to video to photo. Other than that, I learned a couple of tricks. I put it on T, and I just kind of let it go. And if I ever need anything, I can just flip everything back to the actual dials that I really want overall. So last thing is this flip out screen. It's really hard to see here, but the flip out screen is, I'm getting used to it. I like it. Definitely low shots. And people always complain when they do portraits that, oh, I have a hard time seeing. If you have this flip out screen, I never understand people. You can do portraits on here and basically do portraits upside down and right side up if there's even a thing like that. But overall, I feel like the flip out screen just does so much more for photography. I mean, yeah, it works great for video, and it does suck because you can't have head-on shots. But this right here is why I like the flip out screen. I can protect the screen. You have to buy a screen protector, which is fine, which I'll do. But this right here, I tap it against my shoulders or my harness or sometimes my bag. And I love that this flip out screen's here. Now, one thing I do miss up at the top dial, there used to be a shot, and I very rarely did it, but you could take a picture and then regroup and then take another picture, and then it would freeze both those pictures together, so it give you this really cool artistic. I don't know how to do that on this, but I did enjoy that little part, and I kind of wish they hadn't taken it off. But they did. So that's basically it. I don't really have anything else to talk about besides the PASM dial on the Sony A7 III. Make sure you use it, especially if you want to get into video and photography. Don't be scared of a flip out screen. Don't go buy an XT5 and an XH2 because of the 40 megapixels. I've seen a ton of people on videos. Now, obviously, you can't really tell on YouTube, but you can't tell the difference. It looks like I barely can tell the difference. When I shot with the XH2, I couldn't tell the difference, to be honest with you. They all look the same to me, and most people aren't going to see any of that. Well, with that said, you have a great day, great night, and I'll see you on the other side.